Well, anyway, so thanks again for being here. We're going to talk today essentially about branding and marketing. A lot of times we get confused between the differences or the similarity between those two. And today our goal is to identify 5 key differences between these two that you can implement towards your business and have a clear idea of what truly are you doing that's branding related and what you're doing that's marketing related. So we're gonna dive straight into it to face off number 1. This is one comparison. Branding is all about long term. Marketing is all about short term. You will have like worksheets in front if you are the type that likes to write notes, okay? And think of long term as a good night's sleep. You're selling a good night's sleep. Short term is you're selling that good mattress. If we're all in the business of selling mattresses, that is one of the differences. So be thinking about what your good night's sleep is and what your good mattress is. Good night's sleep is the emotional value that you're selling. We all know a lot of us make purchase decisions based on our emotions. And then good mattress is the tangible value, it's your products and your services. We're not saying one is more important than the other. It's about knowing the difference between those two as it pertains to your company. So far so good, yeah? Now, look at this picture. How does this image make you feel? Shout it out.
It's heartwarming.
Yeah, that's what I was listening.
Comforting.
Comforting. Okay. This image is used by, any guesses? Well, for those who have attended the first one, don't spoil the surprise. Not that it's going to be a surprise. It's Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola use a lot of emotional values. They promote a lot about that. They are a soda company, yes. They're in the business of selling soda pop, right? And they have a full range of product. That's their good mattress. But their good night's sleep, if you remember their jingle or you remember their tagline, it's all about happiness. Get happiness, you know, like holiday is a big thing for them. Just a few days ago, they were bashed by people for creating an advertisement using AI. They're recreating that, you know, very fateful scene of families gathering together, Santa Claus and their trucks and all that. So their response to that is interesting. If you can find it online, you can read about it. But anyway, what I'm talking about here is using a company like Coca-Cola, helping us recognize that they have their tangible product, which is their sodas, which is what people tend to think about. Even the shape of the bottle is part of their tangible value. It's recognizable, and I think they even trademark the shape. They morph their logo to wrap around the bottle, and that visual effect in itself is a very emotional strategy, okay? The whole hugging thing, you see a lot of that, you see a lot of smiles, you see a lot of gathering, a lot of like miracles, and especially again during the holiday season. They're very good at doing that. So when you think about applying a good night's sleep and your good mattress in your company, promoting it, you want to first answer this question: how do you want your consumer to feel? Depending on your product line. So we talked about Coca-Cola, it's all about happiness. Allstate, you think about security, you want to feel secure. Nike is all about determination. Pampers is all about comfort. I mean, the list can go on. And these are not rocket science, right? And these are not necessarily unique to those brands. You just have to know what you are about. What are you really in the business of selling? What emotional value are you trying to promote to the people that will be paying money for your service and product? Pair them, because we are in a habit of talking a lot about our products and services and detach it from that emotional value. So like we saw in Coca-Cola, they combine that tangible product with that emotional value that they're selling. So if you are in the business of selling soap, you want to pair that with that emotional value that you are trying to advocate. Not just to show your soap product, you show someone using the soap product, hopefully with a smile on their face, right? So, always be thinking about how you want your consumer to feel, combine that with your product placement. Whether it's the launch of a new offering, whether it's a limited time incentive, trial period subscription, whatever. Combine it with that emotional value. And you may ask, well, how do I visualize or represent an emotion? That's where you need to do your research. I mean, we have AI at our fingertips right now. You can simply ask AI, give me a list of imagery that I can use to emote, fill in the blank, and see what they come up with, and then you just take it from there, all right? Any question at this point? Long-term versus short-term. All right, moving on. Second phase of hardware versus hardware. It's the who versus the what and the how, okay? Again, going back to how you want your customer to feel. You need to look at this all day long. Who are your internal customers, which are your employees, the people that you work directly with, your suppliers, your vendors. You may categorize them under that. Who are your external customers? Who are the people that are paying money for your products and services? And ask, how do you want them to feel? What problem are you trying to solve? The what and the how are essentially your products, services, and then what I call touch point. So that's the how. How are you connecting with these people that you're trying to reach? We're going to look into 3 touch points. If you have been in other of my workshops, I talk about this a whole lot. Because if you're talking about how to reach the people you want to reach, it's not just your website. It's not just your stand at a fair or at a trade show. It's a combination of 3 things. Anything that's online, so that can be your website, that can be your social media. Anything that's on print, anything that's printed, right? Some of us still have business cards, flyers, brochure, stickers, if you give out stickers. Anything that you pay for advertising on print, newspaper, magazine, those are all your print, on-print touch point. And then on-site touch point is more about your store, if you have a storefront, your office, if you use that office space to meet with people, and your interaction with people, that is your on-site touch point, whether it's on the phone or in person. So think of your business in the context of how you're reaching them in these 3 touch points. It's always good to make a list. Keep a list of your touch points and be well aware if you have a promotion that you're going to do, make sure that information is translated through these touch points to have the greatest reach. Don't just think about, oh, I need to have it on the website or on my social media. That's not all, right? If you have other components built into it. I use Walmart as an example because this gives us an idea. They have flyers, especially during Black Friday and Christmas holiday. Recently, well, I guess about a year ago, whenever you walk in, they offer free Wi-Fi. That's a clever thing if you're not so worried about security. And then their storefront, right? Now, more recently, they did this whole revamp of their online, or rather cash register, right? Their goal was, they feel the self-checkout will make it more convenient for their customer. That's what their customer wanted. They want the customer to feel, I guess, ease when they checked out, that they don't have to worry about, I'm not sure what else they're worrying about. The lines are equally long, in my opinion. Now, can anyone tell me, or maybe from this group here, how many of you are for the main register and how many of you are for the self-checkout? Self-checkout first. Who loves self-checkout? You do? You do? Okay.
It
But
depends
I
on
like
how much I'm checking out.
how much is
True.
So if you have a lot, would you rather have someone or you do it yourself?
If I've got a large card, I would rather have somebody else check me out. If I have just a couple items, I'd rather self-check and kind of avoid some of the lines.
So
that
you
keep
feel it's
going.
faster if you self-check
Exactly.
little items?
Mhm.
Okay, okay. So I guess the rest of us prefer man register. Why? Why do you need someone there?
Well,
I
like
don't wanna
she's
weigh out
saying,
produce.
You
with,
don't have to wait, okay, what
well,
else?
like she's saying, with the manned register, I mean, you also have the conveyor belt. It's not very convenient when you have a cart full of stuff to self-checkout. So you have the conveyor belt, and I like to talk, so I'm gonna talk to the person behind the
Okay.
register.
You will love Trader Joe.
I mean, I'm gonna talk to the person that's manning the self-checkout,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, okay. So now again, keep this in mind. Whatever your touch point is, know that you're not gonna please everyone, right?
Right.
I mean, there are articles about this whole Walmart shindig, and some people hated it. Now, what did they do differently in the context of hardware? Can you all remember if you've been to Walmart after they did this whole overhaul? Have you noticed something different?
Is it the surveys, like how was your experience, or?
Like on the screen, okay, that's one of them. I think they had it even before on their smaller, self-checkout counter. What else have y'all noticed?
They stand at the door and they're like, hey, let me see your receipt.
They do that. Now, you say they stand at the door. Have you noticed that they have increased the number of people at the self-checkout area?
Yes.
Like the moment you step out there will be someone nearby looking and waiting to answer your question, or even
There
come
are
out to ask you.
Traffic controllers.
Yeah, okay, so they're doing a lot of traffic control, and I noticed they greet you a lot more. That's my observation. Suddenly, I don't get greeted at all at Walmart most of the time, unless you walk in. Even when you walk in at entrance, they don't even care to greet you. But they have upped that effort. And I feel is they're trying to maintain the humanness of their business while trying to implement a technology that supposedly make it more efficient. I'm curious if death rate has gone up, but again, they are very strict because there are things that when I scanned in the past, they would not check, now they check. So, hit and miss, all right? All that is to say, think about all the touch points that your company uses to reach the people that you're trying to reach and solve a problem for. All right, what problems are you trying to solve for them? Not for yourself, I mean, yeah, but primarily for them. Because if you're just solving a problem, you're just making life easy for yourself, not necessarily for the people that you are hoping to pay money for your stuff. Questions so far with this second face-off? Okay, always be asking what problem are you trying to solve? And yes, always address the problem first and then suggest how your product is a solution to that problem. A lot of us tend to jump straight to the solution I'm providing without acknowledging the problem that you're trying to solve. So you acknowledge the problem that you're trying to solve for your consumer, helps to resonate with them first, and then you present your solution. Throughout all those touch points if possible. Okay, the third face-off is the day-to-day versus season-to-season. Day-to-day versus season-to-season. The picture would suggest to you the day-to-day are the everyday, obviously, right? And the key word to remember about this, related to branding, is you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. For the season to season, this is where you can spend more time to try to be creative. I'll explain why. Looking at this case study of Lego, can you shout out the things that you've noticed Lego doing consistently? Colors, can you elaborate?
They're yellow color specifically.
So primarily yellow color, okay, what else?
They always include their actual toy in their setup, like their displays, like everything made on Legos.
Okay. What else have you noticed that Lego have been consistent?
Their logo hasn't changed.
Yeah. They might have tweaked it a little bit, but yeah, it's very minor. What else?
It has a fun feel and everything.
Okay. That's consistent.
It's interactive.
Interactive?
Yeah, anytime they show something, you're doing something, or it looks like you could do something, even that top picture that doesn't have any people in it.
Yeah.
It looks like you could put the display fixtures together if you wanted to.
Yeah. Because they are trying to resonate with the emotional value of gameplay, not just, oh, this is our blocks. You go buy it to play with it. You play with it there and there. Okay, what elements have you noticed that speaks to the more season to season, the more creative, ways they market themselves?
So you've got,
Mhm.
you can travel in the summer.
Okay, they have this whole Legoland thing.
We've
is that
got
what
rainy
you're
day play
saying? Mhm.
up here at the top, and then, of course, you can still go into their store.
Okay.
And for the homebody, the online.
Who would think that a Lego needs a restaurant, but they do have restaurants? Some in their location of the theme park, some separately, as a separate entity. I mean, that is a creative endeavor. It's expensive, but it takes time to think about how you are trying to reach those people. Do well in those key touch points, and then if it's seasonal, you can decide how you can be creative. So one way to explore this creativity is think about the senses. How are you using the 5 different senses to relate to your customer? A lot of us tend to just immediately dismiss that, thinking that, oh, my business, like, say for example, my business as a brand strategist, how can I use smell to resonate with my consumer? How can I use taste to resonate with my consumer? You don't naturally think about that, but that is the way you can be creative. I would like to invite you to sample the chips on your table. They are clean, and tell me what comes to mind when you taste that chip.
Nostalgia, because my mom loves potato chips. She always
Okay.
eats it.
All right. What else? Does it taste like something that you're about to celebrate very soon? I have
Oh,
more, I
turkey.
just don't want to dump
Maybe like
everything out.
seasoning, like stuffing.
Oh, like stuffing, okay. It's actually a stuffing flavored chip. And the moment I say Thanksgiving stuffing, like a whole flood of emotions and feelings comes with it.
That's so awesome.
So, in the classes I teach, I incorporate taste into the way I talk about branding. So it is possible, you just need to spend time to think about how it applies to your business. Can anyone try and share possibly some creative ways of engaging the 5 senses for your line of business?
For mine, it's easy because I make body care, but my main attraction is the colors. It's very colorful, and then it has a really creamy texture, but then it also smells amazing, and that's what attracts people to come first, is the smell. So it smells very fruity or tropical or very manly. Those are the most popular.
Okay.
Do you change the color of your soaps if the natural color of the ingredients doesn't look pretty?
No,
Okay.
I make the color match whatever it
I was
is
curious.
that it is. So if something's
Yeah.
like berry, I'm gonna try some sort of pink or reddish color. If
Okay.
something's a wood warm scent, I might do like a tan or a brown, because your eyes are gonna match what you think you smell and what you see.
She made me tea tree oil soap and it's black, and that's perfect.
The one way you can stand out is to really spend time and consider what people don't usually expect you to do. Okay? That takes time, but again, it's worth it if you can hit it on the head. People will remember, right? Any other thoughts in relation to how to engage your customer through the 5 senses? We can talk about your business if you want. That's what this kind of workshop is for. But make sure you focus on identifying the 3 touch points first.
Since we're
Make
gonna
it
have to get
clear.
real creative.
Mm.
Oh, I'm just thinking, I was like, we're gonna have to get really creative for accounting.
For accounting, okay, let's talk about accounting. Let's talk about the sense of sight, okay? They see numbers,
Yes.
right? They see numbers all day long.
Okay.
How can you make that interesting? I did this with one client. We decided to incorporate numbers into a profile page for every one of their team members by asking them questions that you don't typically expect from an accounting page. So every staff will have to answer one of those questions is, what would you do with $5? And then they write about it. Now, what purpose does that serve? If you go to their website because you're needing to
For their bio.
you read their bio,
Mhm.
and then you see questions like that.
Mhm.
It makes it relatable.
Right. Okay.
All right. So that's one example
Okay.
with sight. What else for accounting? Help her out here. Smell.
More
Yes.
commercial with numbers just falling from the sky and then somebody being able to be like, I can fix that, and just throw them up on the shelf all organized pretty.
Mhm.
I think with accounting too, that, no offense, but most people don't wanna look at the sausage. They wanna look at the sausage, not how it got made.
Mhm,
So I
mhm.
think how you present results can be very, if it's very easy to understand, like a dashboard type deal, I think that our people do that, and it
Mhm.
makes it very nice, just to be able to go, boom, you're there. You need to dig down, you can, but you got everything right there on the surface you need.
Okay.
One of the
There's a tight
things-
association between bookkeeping and accounting, and so you can have like a nice organized bookshelf.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Cause that's kind of bookkeeping.
For sure. I mean, and it is in our wheelhouse. It is definitely-
What problem are you solving for your customer?
Oh, goodness. It's kind of a larger spectrum. So number one, most companies come to us are small businesses wanting to know what they need to do to scale larger. So we sit down, we go through their finances, we help them understand their finances, because a lot of times small businesses, they know their craft. They don't know what it takes to maintain their business. And so we teach them that particular aspect of it.
So you want them to feel empowered,
For sure,
to know I can grow my business.
for sure.
Okay, so start thinking in that vein, and then you can use the internet and AI to search for imagery that will represent a sense of empowerment. Sometimes that platform can inspire you in ways that you will never
Mhm.
think about. All right. Now I talk about smell, so I'm not sure how much interaction you have with your customer. They usually want numbers, right?
Mhm. It's a lot of
by the end
virtual.
of the year or before tax and all that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Quarterly and annual, yeah.
I'm throwing this out there, because I'm not sure whether it will work. But maybe it can come with whatever documentation you present to them.
Mhm.
It can come with a scent.
Mhm.
And then whenever they smell it, and you're trying to associate it with, oh, I look at my numbers, I feel empowered. You connect that with the scent. And then subsequently, whenever you buy them a gift, their anniversary,
Mhm.
it can be tied to that scent.
Okay,
All right?
I like that.
So these are ways a little bit unconventional, but worth considering and see if it makes sense for your process. You work with ladies like them that make custom soap.
Mhm.
Let us wash your red numbers away or something like that.
I know a lot
You
of
know what I mean?
private label candles
Yeah.
for service-based clients,
Yeah.
because they are looking for those thank you and client gifts, and you put their logos on it, so when they ship them out, then it's a gift from their business, not just a random candle.
I'm all about swags, but make sure your swag makes sense.
Mhm.
For your case, let us shed a light to your financial situation. Give them a candle.
Having
That-
a signature scent is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, I know this doesn't like correlate, but my sister, there's a signature scent in her home, and it's very unique, it's very masculine, very woodsy, and you know that that's Monica's house, and it smells like a Home and Gardens magazine. Like, you know whose house you're walking into, so like, if you have a signature scent for your office when you have meetings and stuff like that, like,
Yeah.
they'll be like, I love the way this office smells, like, they just know it's you.
I try to do that with a new home builder because we talk about new car smell all day long. You recognize that smell. I suggest, think about what a new home smell like, right? And then every one time they walk into your model home, they smell it, they remember, oh, this belongs to this builder. And then when someone buys the home, custom a smell for them, for their very own new home smell. You see the potential in this. Think about senses. That's where you can be creative. All right? There. So we have seasonal stuff that you can be creative, with situational stuff that you can be creative at. Let's look at a few case studies. Seasonal, we hear this all day long, right? The whole pumpkin spice thing has just gone crazy. Until we have like, even this for pets, I found on the internet.
Oh,
And
wow.
then you have wipes that has that pumpkin spice smell. The poopery, I love that. Okay? So, I'm not saying you have to go this route, but think about what have people been doing that are seasonal, and then think about how relevant it is to you. The other one is situational. COVID is one key example that I love to use for this particular presentation. What are the problems that they are trying to solve? People had to distance themselves, so that whole issue of, oh, I cannot maintain a relationship that I treasure so much. I'm concerned about my safety, contamination and all that. Sustenance. If I cannot go buy my grocery as often as I like, what is gonna happen? Can you think of 3 companies that rise up from this?
Amazon.
Amazon, okay, in what context?
Their online business just like mega triple billion
Okay.
because people, they have so many delivery services, and you ask them to grocery.
So you think about,
Zoom,
what again?
Zoom
Zoom, okay,
for relationships.
for relationships, for business, and then it became like
And
day-to-day as well,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
And
for
then
sure.
us. Natural soap was big, like it was just everywhere after COVID.
Everyone started making their own stuff, right? So these are the example of 3 companies that rise up to the challenge. Lysol is so clever that they went to CDC to get a stamp of approval that they killed 99% of COVID virus. Once you have that seal, people will just naturally be drawn to that product, right? Because the need was there. And the history of Lysol is crazy. Ask me after this, because some people cringe at it.
Oh, wow.
I had this conversation with someone about it. Okay, again, think about day-to-day, which is your branding. It has to be consistent. Review all your touch points and make sure it is consistent. What do I mean by that? If you have a logo, make sure the logo shows up consistently. If you have a color, use the color consistently. If you have a way to describe the problem, use that phrase consistently. If you have a solution that you have a keyword that describes the solution, use that consistently, all right? And then start being creative as you think about season, as you think about situations. This takes a team. Sometimes it can be very exhausting if you're just running your own business. Use AI to inspire you, all right, and then evolve from there. It's always about stating the problem that you're trying to solve and how you play a part in becoming that solution. The 4th one, long haul versus right now. Branding is all about the long haul. It's about something greater. Marketing is all about the right now, something cheaper. Now, not good and bad here. You just have to know it cannot always be about something cheaper because someone else is gonna come around and sell something else cheaper than you. then you're in that constant battle of trying to be cheaper or better or bigger or smaller. Think about what can be something greater for your company beyond the products and services. So in the context of this fake mattress company, we know that they are in the business of selling a good night's sleep. Translate that to, for example, eliminating homelessness, making sure that you put a bed for every homeless shelter, or however many number of beds or mattress. That can be that something greater that your company is all about and be known for. Okay, some of you may have thought about this. Care to share what is that something greater in your own business, beyond your products and services?
Our something greater would be potential merger or acquisition. So if you take a small business, you grow it to scale, and now it's shoppable.
Okay.
I know that's boring, but.
No. You have to believe in it, right?
Absolutely.
Because no one else will understand how great that is.
And we have clients that are like, we never thought that this was even possible for us, you know,
Right.
so.
And then get them involved in that something greater. Maybe they can be involved in helping another small business
For sure.
to get to where they are. Figure out how you can get them involved in this process. That's beyond profit margin. No, more than profit margin, I would
For sure.
have to say that. Okay. What other something greater can you think of?
I don't know if this matches or not, but I donate through my business to charity water, which helps make water pumps in Mozambique and Africa. Is that something like, because
Yeah.
through the business?
Yeah. Yeah, so you are trying to give back to the community, right? At the baseline of that is about giving back, all right? And then the creativity part is about making it make sense to your business. So it could be like, okay, we have soap to make us clean, but your soap has more function, right? When you're just in rural area, you need soap that is not just to make you smell pretty, right? So dive deeper into the meaning of that, how you use natural ingredients and all that stuff. There was a light company that instead of selling their product, they give kits to poor neighborhood to make their own light. So, that kind of stuff, it makes sense to their product, but it's not for profitability, more for giving back. And then you get the community involved. I like that you brought up charity water, right? Because not everyone will appreciate how much effort it takes to transport a whole jug of water from one place to another in the countries they serve. Yes, they build wells, but people still have to walk a distance. So how do they make that relatable to the people that they are dependent on donations in stateside, for example? Do you remember, have you heard about what they did? They actually do like a walkathon type stuff where they make people carry those iconic yellow jug of water just so they can experience a bit of what the people that they are serving have to go through to carry water from far away. So that is one way of getting people involved in something greater. I say this again, you as a founder and owner will believe in this heart and soul. To get the people that works for you, to get to this point takes a lot of work, much more for those people that just buys from you, right? Because you're serving their basic needs of, I need my numbers crunched so I know how to grow. They are not gonna see beyond themselves at that point when you serve them. But it's about the journey that you bring them through. That is really about branding more than marketing. You need to use marketing to get them into the door, and then you have a strategy to get them involved in something greater.
It's a little more indirect, but one thing we've started doing is, introducing our people to more and more charities. Like we just had a meeting the other day, had 3 charities come in, and then we're given 8 hours a quarter to go do charity work for.
That's great.
For on the clock. And that's not outward facing, but we feel like it's gonna permeate somewhere to the outside. So-
And I'm glad you're doing that because, yes, it's not outwards facing first. You start from the inside.
Yeah.
You start from the people that works with you. They need to catch it because you spend so much money advertising. You have these people who are working for you. If you get them to be on the same page as you, when their friends and family ask them, what do you do for a living? Can you imagine what they would say if they are an advocate versus I'm just there for a paycheck? You can even do this survey amongst your staff if you have employees. Ask them ask them that question, what do you do for a living? And then see what they say. It will be very insightful. Whether you are successful at getting them excited beyond a paycheck, beyond the responsibility of their job description. So that props to you. Get that going, right? And then they will see a bigger vision over time. Yeah. Any other thoughts on this point? On the long haul versus right now? Yeah.
So I've found that in single person businesses like mine or just others where there's almost a cult of personality around the owner, like there's this disconnect between the something greater of the person versus the business. And lots of clients, they either want one or the other, and they're dissatisfied when they don't get the one you didn't know they wanted. So the problem that I'm trying to figure out is how do you get the identity of the owner of the business to somehow align with a business statement that's still different, even though they just want to work with you, they don't actually care about the differentiation of the product.
Mm.
That's a really good question because I do a lot of in-person events, and eventually I will have a team that will do events for me. But those same loyal people will be looking for me because I'm the face of my business. So that's a good question, how to separate.
How to work yourself out from being that face.
Exactly,
Right?
and get people to identify with the business being the something greater rather than the person.
Yeah. So, like you look at your, yes.
I've got some input to that, because when I started my data center business, I made this goal of hitting a certain dollar run rate before I hired an employee. Stupidest goal of my life, almost ruined my marriage, almost made me have a heart attack. But I made it. So, but since then, I've hired employees, and what I've done is maintain the relationships that I had strong in the beginning. And then as you bring employees on, let them take over those newer relationships and move forward with them. Eventually, yours will age out. Being in the IT industry, I'm an old 61-year-old guy. I don't talk to the 23-year-old very good anymore. So just let the natural migration of your age, your relationships, the early ones, the later ones, and just kind of balance that and let your people move forward with the new relationships, and you kind of be as a backstop to it. That's the advice I'd have to you on that.
So I will go back to identifying the value that you and your business stands for. So let's say, for example, give me a value that you hold strongly to.
Freedom.
Freedom? Okay. So freedom looks a specific way to you, right? Can you describe how do you live out freedom in your business and your life?
Easily, by outsourcing things that I'm not good at to other people.
Okay, so now, when you hire people, ask them that same question. When you think about freedom, the fact that they want to be part of you, they value freedom, but ask them, how does freedom look like for them? All right, and then you make that decision. Does that make sense with the way I want to represent my company? Okay, and then help them flesh it out. So I'm going to use a case study that I use often enough. Trader Joe values wowing customers, like they want to impress customer, right? So when they hire people, they tell them, okay, we value wowing customer, but depending on who you are, you will wow customer differently. One person may wow customer by being very attentive at the register, and then if they found out that this person is celebrating a birthday, he or she will go and get a bouquet of flower and write it off. Another customer, another employee, they still need to wow customer, right? Because that's the value. But they are very shy. They don't like to talk to customer as much. But they can be on the floor just holding a sample dish and then going around. You don't have to interact that much. It's just try this, you know, and then, so figure out how they express that value that is important to you as a business in their own way, empower that, and encourage them to do it. That will make it unique enough that over time when customer interacts with you as a founder or as your employee, they will get it. They will get that this is an expression of this value that has not changed to your company. I'm working with a customer right now, a client right now, that they started off as two founders. It's all about them. When customer call, it's all about them. We're trying to phase them out from being the face while we embody the brand. Hope that kind of answers your question. I mean, it's a deeper dive. There's a lot more ways to do it. Start from value. Any other suggestion and thought?
I think the system we use, it's before you even hire, knowing that value or values.
Oh, for sure.
But then every 90 days, that key personality needs to talk about the priority of those values and reviews. Any employee reviews you do, there needs to be a measurement of how they're matching up to those values. Because a lot of times people who want that priority person, what they're really wanting is just to get what they've always gotten as a value from them, and this other person, they just don't know they're going to quantifiably get that. And as a leadership position, you have to kind of ensure that not just have they heard it, but knowing that they're being measured and being held accountable to how they're matching up with those sets of values, because that's super important if you're going to be an employee here and someone that's part of our brand and culture.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you brought up here. When you are growing, you're going to have employees. Your key performance index or your review has to embrace those values, and those are the things that you are always looking out for, that you're always training, that you're always asking. If you don't have that, then you're just randomly sitting down with your employees or potential employee and just shoot the breeze. You're not hiring the people that can represent you.
Or you have unintentional values. Every brand has values.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes there's unintentional ones that maybe don't come across the way you want them to.
Right, right. Because Trader Joe is very clear. You can give out everything, but not alcohol and raw meat. So you set the boundary for how this value flashes out for your company. Now, if you have an employee that, oh, no, I don't care, then yeah, it's not a good fit. All right, you'll be more expensive to retrain someone. Any other thoughts? Okay, this is one of the hardest things to think about when you're still trying to grow. But start thinking about it. Write it down in your dream book, you know, keep it top of mind. So this is an example of different companies in different industries embracing that greater purpose. So the one-for-one model is amplified by Tom's Shoe. They started out as the leader in this model where anyone buys a shoe, they give a pair of shoes. It's not practical for them right now, so they evolved, but it is still the one-for-one model concept. And then Warby Parker, the eyewear, they do the same thing, and you know, they give it to people that needed eyewear, that couldn't afford it. So that's something greater. In the realm of education, Apple and Microsoft are all over the place. They either equip schools or nonprofit with their technology, and then they provide training, so on and so forth. Very clear cut. Disaster relief is very common in home improvement businesses like Home Depot and Lowe's. It is not about finding something that is so unique to you that only you do it. No, it's okay to copycat because your impact is in that community that you have impact on. right? As you grow, your impact is greater and wider, but don't feel like you cannot do it because someone bigger is doing it. It starts from the inside, your employees. The home builder I used to work for over almost, 15 years ago, they go out to the community that they built for disaster relief. They get everyone involved. I mean, I remember it was after that, what year was that, the hurricane in Moore, we went out and clear homes and helped uncover stuff. All right, next. Still on the long haul and right now scenario, you go back to how you want your consumer to feel, relate that to the problem that you're trying to solve, and then think about what the society or the world needs. So it's just scoping it out, right? Because these people, if they can resonate with your answer to what the world needs, then you're getting them closer to be more involved than just writing a check, swiping a card, making a purchase. And then whatever product you put your brand on going forward, they will be there to buy it. So it's a long journey. This is not an easy thing to do, but it's good to have that scope if you are a business leader that wants to grow and increase your impact, okay? It's not always about something cheaper. Okay, same formula, right? You have the problem that you're currently solving, think about that bigger problem, how does this solution fit into that picture? The fifth one, steadfastness and responsiveness. Not too far away from what we just talked about. Steadfastness tied to branding is all about knowing your true north. We talk about values. So this is your true north. It should not change too much. When you talk about marketing, it's being responsive. Being responsive and being adaptable to what is happening currently. Do you need to change a little bit in the way you market yourself, but still hold true to your true north, to your value? Right? The problem you are solving now and the problem that you are solving in the future is about your true north. It's branding more than marketing. And then has the problem all your customer evolve, that's responding to that win vein. And then is it still in line with the problem that you're solving in the future? Okay, this is very conceptual talk here, but grab onto that idea that true north is a compass. Adaptability is your win vein. That's how you navigate your business. So this case study, some of you are familiar with. When I first knew about Trader Joe, I thought it was just one of those grocery store or pit stop along the highway, because this friend was on a road trip with me. I was on a road trip with him. We drove from Illinois into Oklahoma to the southern end of Mexico. And he was telling me, oh, we're going to Oklahoma, we need to go visit this Trader Joe. And so I couldn't understand what all that fuss is with Trader Joe. We just need to get some road trip snack. We went, and the moment I stepped through the store, I was like, this grocery store is very different, it's very intriguing. People talk to you, people are excited about the product. And it looks very colorful and very messy all at the same time. And, so, in fact, this was a picture I took that day, 2016, with my friend checking out, and like, Sarah, this is Sarah, by the way. She's now moving on to a different thing. I knew her without knowing that I knew her.
That's
anyway, okay, so this was like towards the end, we were checking out, and then we were basically talking about what we were doing. I left the store feeling like, this is so weird. As a brand strategist, I was so intrigued. that the moment I came back from Mexico, I applied for a job with them. And the amount of things I learned related to marketing and branding in the 4 years with them on and off, while doing my main job, I've learned more than I did in my 20 plus years in branding and marketing. So I use them a lot in my case study. Case in point, in the context of being steadfast while being responsive, is the next case study. We all know COVID. I went back to COVID again. They believe in their in-store experience. That's their non-compromisable value. They want to maintain the image of a neighborhood grocery store, and they continue to donate to food bank. When COVID struck, we know Amazon, Walmart, Whole Foods went online, curbside pickup, whatever. They refused to do it. Trader Joe refused to do it. The things that you found of Trader Joe online are people buying stuff on Trader Joe and reselling it. So that is a big thing. You might think you have opportunity to make lots of money, but they wouldn't, because that is their true north. That's their compass. The wind vanes say otherwise, but that's their compass. They limit the in-store foot traffic, obviously, and this is a story I love telling. I remember working during that time, and part of our job is being outside to interact with the people, clean the cart as they walked in, make sure we have the same number of people in there and replenish with people going in. I have an older gentleman. The comment he makes was very fresh in my mind. He said, "This is the best activity of my day." Waiting in line to go into Trader Joe to buy stuff. And then typically I have to wait how long, Sarah? Can you remember? I don't know.
On a weekend, it was nuts. People would wait for like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours
Yeah.
sometimes.
It was to do it. And then they still have food bank donation during that time. So this is one example where a company is so sure about what their true north is. They will not budge despite what the wind vane is telling them, and they remain profitable. We were given, as grocery worker, well, it started off with the West Coast in California, where the government wanted the grocery store in California to make sure they increase the hourly rate of employees at the store, right? Kroger was one of those big chain grocery store. They wouldn't do it. They closed down some store, and obviously people lost their job. Trader Joe not only increased the hourly rate of their staff on the West Coast, they did it nationwide. It's not about profitability. It is necessary to keep their business afloat, but despite making those decisions that you think it's a stupid decision, they remain profitable. Maybe cut down a little bit, but they still remain profitable. That's how you get cult follower. That's how you build brand advocate. That will stick with you for life, and that will buy anything you slap your brand on. Really, okay? It takes a long time to get there, but this is a good case study to ponder over. Any thoughts about steadfastness versus responsiveness? Here's a summary, and we have some time, right? Yeah, I'll open the floor out for more discussion. If you want to talk about your business in the context of these, let's do this, because we want to help each other. We have insights that not all of us will have, so it's about sharing thoughts and insight in relation to your industry. I'm going to turn on the lights. Is there one area that you want to dive in a little bit more to flesh out?
What's your opinion, or if it's related to it, on your last, the steadfastness to the responsiveness, as far as like what your brand represents, like what you do, like for instance, like there's some brands that carry one product and that's all they do, but sometimes they'll do limited edition things that come out, or they'll like venture into a different section of their brand and say, now we do this over here, like this and that. Like, for instance, for like something like our business, like a body care business, how I do body care. People ask for hair care all the time. People ask for facial skin care stuff all the time. They ask for room sprays and candles because they throw it all in the same category. Would you say staying steadfast to like what you do, I make these 5 products, this is what I'm for, is it a detriment to not respond to what people want versus wanting to be known for something specific?
It's a scaling question, right? You figure out how much you can handle to continue to maintain the quality of the product. It's easy to be reactionary. I serve clients that are so reactionary. Every time a client says something, oh, we need to go do it. It's a dangerous space to be. Take note of it. Like if you grow bigger and then you have the time and space to do it, yes, explore it to see if it makes sense. So that's a short answer to your question. What can you handle right now? And in terms of product line.
It's not just that, but like, so next door, you know, DD Audio makes, we can do customized speakers, you know, and we can, right, but we can, like the speaker itself can be highly customized, and we can go crazy with it, right? But over the years, we've had to reduce the number of things that can be customized, even though people are asking for, but those people who are asking are on the fringes. Like if you look at a normal curve, so just as an example, so we used to have an online configuration tool to where you can build a customized sub graphically, and then send that to a dealer, and then have the dealer build that for you. Well, it got used like a couple dozen times a year.
It's not worth it then.
So, you know, and it was a high cost to maintain it because we were changing our products up, and every time we changed our products, we had to change that tool. And so we took it away. We're like, you know what, we're not gonna maintain this anymore, it's not worth it, we can't associate a return on investment for this. Once a week we get a complaint, why can't we customize your subs on the website? Well, it's like, we literally had it for years, for like 5 years. Where were you then? You know what I mean? It just didn't pick up enough steam. So I'm not saying to ignore those requests, you certainly keep them in your mind, but those 5 things are your bread and butter that are making you the money. You gotta keep that churning, first and foremost. You know, maybe you do that special edition line that kind of touches on that thing that people are asking for, or something like that, to like, to see if it could hook in and become one of your bread and butter items or something like that. But I wouldn't designate a lot of resources towards it unless we have the resources to designate.
You brought up something limited release. Try that as a limited release. See if there's traction, and then do survey for the people that buys it. Because one person can say, oh, I will buy it every year. That one person is not gonna make you grow. Sarah, you about it?
Yeah, I actually just went through this in my pricing workshop I did last week, where I went through your value ladders. Basically, take your big revenue goal that you want to make for the year or the month, whatever, and start to break it down with what you're currently getting off of your products. And that includes not just your revenue, but that margin in between. Start looking at, if you can't hit that number successfully with what you're doing, are there other products that you can offer and make that have a better profit margin to it? That's gonna help you make that ultimate goal. That's one of the things I did years ago with my business. One of the reasons why I make candles is because candles have such a higher margin to them than what bars of soap do. So by adding that, all of a sudden my revenue took off and my margin took off also, because I wasn't constantly running on these really slim margins. So I had more money to grow and work within my business on.
You can charge $30 for a candle, you probably can't charge $30 for a bar of soap.
Bar of soap that is a candle, you guys.
There you go.
You guys can collaborate.
Add that mood in while you take a shower.
Or when it melts, it turns into soap, doesn't it?
I can't tell you how many people ask me for candles. You make candles, right? You make it. I'm like, no.
Well, ask them, what about candle that, how do they use candle?
It
And-
comes to the scent. So
Okay.
like I carry masculine and then floral citrus. Floral citrus, people want on their body. Masculine scents, a lot of women like, but a lot of times they'll want those scents in candles. They want their house to smell like pine. They want their house to smell like mahogany teak, but they want those really deep scents in their home. And they're like, can you make this in a room spray? Can you make this that? But the fruity scents they want all over their body. That's the biggest thing that feedback that I've gotten back.
Very interesting insight. It takes worth exploring this. Any other thoughts that you might have for your own business in any of these areas?
Look. I love that.
I mean, scaling is always the question, right? Why I choose to remain as just a solopreneur. I want to scale, meaning I want to expand my reach. So there's certain things that I will not compromise, there's certain things I'm willing to compromise. So I will provide free or very inexpensive courses, because not only does that allow me to reach people and learn from different industry, but I also have to brush up on my delivery skills, I have to brush up on my concept. It's very empowering. I don't get paid enough for it, but it doesn't matter. Because I have a source of income that helps. That whole margin thing, I have margins to do something that is not necessarily profitable.
Yeah,
It's
we-
like that.
And something to that, we call it trade the sleeves out of our vest. Like at one of our buildings, we have a really spectacular conference room that we don't charge customers to use. Most people would charge for it, but we're like, they're bringing people that don't know about us in. They're in a nice conference room, they're seeing our building, they're seeing our business, and you get advertising out of that you'd have to pay for otherwise. So, things like that, for example.
When you have a customer telling you, oh, can you do this? Whether it's a service or product, right? It shows that they are interested enough to ask. So make them feel that you value their feedback. Store it away in this, you may keep something that always have your wish list, right? Keep it, keep in touch, because they take the time to tell you, and then see how you can leverage that relationship. When you're ready to grow that product line or service, talk to them. Hey, I'm about to do this. Would you, be a tester or give me feedback, something like that. So it's work to keep in touch with your customer base. Yeah.
And we're kind of in that phase for grant writing. We've got a lot of customers. We just recently added on an RFP division to help customers that want to write city, state, local, or federal contracts. We help them with their responses. And so in that, some of our customers are like, hey, do you write grants? And we're like, no, we don't write grants. We just write RFPs. And so we've had a lot of inquiries about, do you write grants? And so we're like, we're trying to vet out those requests versus actually bringing in-house a technical writer to support that actual request. So we're literally in that phase right now.
Yeah, because you need to know how many times that request is being made.
Correct.
You cannot react to just one.
Correct.
The person may be your favorite customer,
Right.
but that person cannot sustain you.
Right.
Right? Yes, that's a good practice.
And grant writing is different. A lot of them, they may not have the financials to support an hourly rate, what it's gonna take for us to go into writing a grant. And of course, they're not guaranteed, so we can't base it on the win as far as.
You don't have to hire a full-time grant writer. There are grant writers out there that would do it job
For
by
sure.
job.
Yes, and we're looking at that as well. Yep.
Yeah, and it's again, knowing, right, what is the end product that you want to deliver? Because I have people say, use AI to write grants.
Mhm.
Yes, and some people may find that as a good business model to make money, but what is your value, right? Do you value something beyond automation?
Mhm.
Because tech can do a lot of things, but where do you draw that fine line between tech and then that human interface? Yeah.
To her point, when you're in a non-retail, but when you're in a business-to-business type arrangement, it's a good thing to be multiple answers to your customers.
Mhm.
It helps you build, but you gotta be careful with it. You can't, it's almost like you gotta expand slowly to the outside. You can't be here and then go, I'm gonna go here,
Mhm.
and then fill in the middle.
For sure.
So you're seeing some of the same things I'm seeing, so.
I have a client that believes in customer service, in making sure they answer a question. But there needs to be boundaries, right? They started off, well, we will answer online inquiry 24/7. Say, my gosh, you're gonna kill yourself trying to respond to stuff 24/7 as they grow their client base. So you need to know where you draw that line. Don't set false expectation. Like you can handle 24/7 right now, but if you set that expectation to your customer base and you scale, you cannot do that. It's more devastating to say, oh, we're gonna take away 24/7. It's now only 5 days a week, 8 to 5. So, you know, like that phrase, overpromise, underdeliver, is a wrong thing, right? You don't want to overpromise. You want to underpromise, overdeliver. Yeah. Any other thoughts? We can wrap this up, and then if you want to stick around and then have a conversation, we can. All right? Thank you again for the time.